Now, I get it. It's Sparta's sword, it's where he kept, like, all his excess power, or whatever, as demons do. That's cool and all. But Sparta's sword is, like, the lamest looking sword in the entire game. It's kinda just a metal triangle, you know? And it's called Force Edge. It's, like, the lamest looking, and it has the lamest name. It's very disappointing. So now, we got this. I don't think I've ever honestly actually used this gun. That's apparently, okay, yeah, alright. Alright, we're learning together right now what this does, alright. Well, you know, that's a thing. It's not really gonna get used still, but, you know, we have it. That's the important thing. Funnily enough, now that the trial of skill is broken, it's actually harder to navigate through than when it was functioning normally, so, that's interesting. Because, realistically, if it was capable of doing this, why did it not do this when it still had something in it to guard? Why do they sound so gross? Oh, it's just like punching a sack of fucking meat. Which, to be fair, is technically what's happening, but, like, you know... Okay, it's time for the worst boss in the entire game. Of the ones that are actually bosses and not like the tapeworm, for example, or like the big Great Reaper at the start. Ooh, spooky.
Me some questions. Well, too bad. I've already answered them myself. I don't need you anymore.
Kinda makes me feel like I turned over a page of the script by accident.
Come on, poser.
Alright, so we're gonna fight a copy of Dante. It's all like spooky and shit, so you can't stab it, as you can see. But, if this could stop freaking out, we come over and hit these. Wait for him to come closer. And he's like, oh no, the light, it burns, I'm a simple shadow person. And then he gets, you know, you get to beat him up for a while. If you open all the ones on the outside, you get to, like, beat him up for longer. Because he's, like, really upset about all the lights being on. This very dark and edgy teenage man. And that's, like, pretty much, you've seen the whole fight now, basically. It's, easily the worst. And this is the other fight that gives us a style as an unlock instead of a weapon. It's the doppelganger style, which you can probably infer what that does, but in exchange for using the devil trigger, it summons a copy of Dante that fights next to him. And it's, not very good, to be perfectly honest with you. Interesting fact, though. If you have a second controller plugged in, and you use the doppelganger style, the second controller can actually control the doppelganger, so that's interesting. The mechanic for the doppelganger also gets used, interestingly, in the second to last stage. Very unique, quite cool, if actually a little inconvenient, like, mechanics-wise. But, so now, like, sometimes he closes the lights, which is really just kind of dickish. And that's, you know, that's basically it. This is... What you see is what you get, as far as the doppelganger goes. And that's it.
Thought I lost my shadow for a sec.
Yeah, I mean, what else do you say about that, really? Now we have all the styles in the game. I mean, we already did, you know how it is. Also, I never, like, mentioned it because you didn't really have context. The picture in the background on Mission Clear is supposed to be whatever style, like, an image related to whatever style you're using at the time. Because I'm using the Style Switcher mod, it always defaults to this, which is the Doppelganger Styles end card. So there are actually different end cards for these. It's just, they don't show up, basically. You know. So that's interesting, if you cared, which you probably don't. But now you know. And knowing is half the battle.
Let's wrap up this crazy party, shall we? Gotta clean up the mess Father left behind.
I mean, the mess is Arkham. Like, didn't really leave him behind, to be honest with you. Okay, now we're in Spooky Demon Land, which colloquially you may know as Hell. And we're about to see why the chess enemies are in the game, because games from this general time period, at least all the ones I can think of, like, quickly, had a sequence where you fought on a chessboard, all the chess pieces. It's kind of interesting, this one, though, because it kind of, like, has some chess rules in it. Because, like, try to attack the king, and the rooks are alive, they'll castle with the king. Not, like, in a legal fashion, but they'll do it. And the pawns, if they get to the other end, transform into something. And, you know, if you kill the king, you win, obviously. It's kind of interesting, I like it. It's novel. It's also interesting to me that they put a king and queen, like they put the king and queen model in, because this is the only time you see them. Now, they are the only ones that don't show up anywhere else, at least to my knowledge. They might on, like, the highest difficulty, I don't really remember. And now they're gone. Just shatter before your very eyes. Okay, what's next? Fuck you guys. I get confused on the exact order of things that happen in Spooky Demon Land. Is this the boss rush? This is the boss rush. So, I mean, boss rush is not technically true because you don't have to do all the bosses. The thing that it showed us there with all the points on it, you only have to, like, connect a certain amount of them, and then the game's like, that's good, I'll do. And, it makes you fight them in some pretty fucking hideous arenas. And there's no music, so it's just really surreal. And there we go, now we're free to leave. Yeah, everybody here thinks I'm really cool and badass. Oh wait, where did they all go? so jiggly. So jiggly. Okay. Glad that one's over, because boy, does it take a while. Now, further in we go to hell. But meanwhile, back at the ranch. Yeah, it was exciting, wasn't it? Alright, still got a few more hoops to jump through, or portals, if you will. Here's the jigglies. Not the jiggle. Well, they do jiggle also, but here's the squishies.